Spoilers ahead. This is your one and only warning. Leave now or forever hold your peace, because we're shooting blindly in these streets. And now, a Japan Time Podcast special presentation.
Okay, but Roger, do you want to talk about the latest chapter, though? Because I kind of still do.
I'm down. I'm here. I just got back.
We'll go to a different room to not spoil people. We'll talk about it.
Okay,
We'll go to
the middle of the
chapter.
speedrun.
All right, cool.
Here we go.
Meeting? We'll go to business meeting. Let's go.
Chat, you're being warden for One Piece spoilers.
I'll drag you, Co, since you're speedrunning.
Thank you.
I got you, buddy.
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Dude,
it was so good.
Based chapter.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was really good.
What you guys were talking about earlier about like the devil fruit? And
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
So I think, first off, there's proof of this. I think all of the Gorosei are going to be based on famous Japanese yokai, because the one for Saturn is based on the it's like the Ushiboni or something, or like it's like the cow spider one. And there's all these different things. And if you look at the silhouettes when Sabo was like in the reverie and was trying to save Cobra from the Gorosei and Imu, he says, while he's there, he says, so hell was really here at the top of the world. And at the time we thought like, okay, whatever. But now there's like satanic summoning circles and stuff for the Gorosei people. So now I kind of feel like, especially if you go back and look at the Gorosei chambers, like from when they first got revealed, and the lights that are in the background, the lights in the Gorosei chambers since chapter 200 something have been satanic circles. Go back and look. It's
when
like chapter
the chapter where,
it's crazy.
The chapter where they chased was it Bonnie? No, who was in the castle?
Cobra and Sabo.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah. They were chasing, when they were chasing them in their like demon forms, that shit was actually kind of spooky.
Oh my god, yeah. He's horrifying. Or like that he just looks at the dude and kills him.
Bro, his head exploded.
His head literally exploded.
Okay, Roger, so I saw something that I thought was pretty convincing about the Gorosei.
Let's hear it.
That someone thinks it's based off of the Chinese Zodiac.
Oh, that's kind
There's
of
an
interesting
ox,
too.
isn't there?
And
Well, they could literally do that and have it be, because the ox one is the Ushi, whatever this thing is, like the thing that Saturn is. Saturn is like the ox spider thing. Yeah. That's cool. That's a neat idea that it would be based on the Zodiac, because most of the yokai creatures are also Zodiac things. Like you could have like a giant chicken or something. You could have a whole bunch of stuff. That's a cool idea. I really like that. Yeah, man. The chapter was
Bonnie
Also,
getting the first hit is so
Bro,
funny.
Yeah, she-
clean. Her being the first one to do it too, after her being the one to say to Zoro and Sabaody, like, don't touch the
Yeah.
But
You're
you
gonna get in
know
trouble.
that is just gonna make him like it's just so he can show off and activate his power.
Oh, of course.
when he gets
of course.
hit.
It's like
Yeah.
Sword to Whitebeard. It's not going to actually do anything to him. Of course not. No.
Yeah, he's probably gonna incapacitate her from this.
Okay, so how much longer do you think we have of Egghead? Because
Like in terms of chapters?
I think we got like 6 more to go. I think we're very close to
I
the
think
end.
with a Gorosei showing up, like that's like the final boss.
I think in classic Oda fashion, he's gonna prolong this longer than he needs to.
I can't even think of how cool Gear 5 Luffy versus the fucking demons is gonna look.
Well, see, that's the thing is Luffy, as of the last chapter, is now out of he's done because
No, I
he's
mean at the end of the series.
the end is gonna be fire. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or
yeah.
like Luffy's like white Gear 5 power and Blackbeard.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I kind of think like looking at where we are right now, thematically with the story, like, and Bonnie being the one to stab the Gorosei member, and the Gorosei obviously gonna get angry from that, and like how hopeless everything kind of looks like right now that Luffy's like down for the count after taking out Kizaru. I honestly feel like Kuma is gonna show up, because we saw Kuma a couple chapters ago where he teleported and he went somewhere, and Akainu was like, that damn Kuma, where's he going? I
Yeah.
think Kuma is teleporting to literally Egghead, and he's gonna show up. I think he's gonna show up in front of Bonnie and save Bonnie, and I think he's gonna pull a reverse Sabaody. Because you know how Sabaody, like, he sent everyone away? I think Kuma is gonna pull a reverse Sabaody and like use his Devil Fruit Awakening as like a last resort before he dies, and I think he sacrifices himself and sends everybody off to Elbaf, and I think that's gonna be it. He's just
I think a character a character like him sacrificing himself is like pretty big too, because like he had the whole like slave thing, where he like had no control. Yeah, so
I was gonna say, what do you think about the teaser with the giant a couple chapters ago?
That's what I'm saying, man. I think. Oh, you mean with the robot?
Yeah, with the robot giant.
So I think the robot is going to be like the actual thing that wraps up Egghead, that allows them to get out of there safely.
And, like,
but I think Kuma is the one that sends them to Elbaf.
Oh, okay.
Because I think the robot, like awakening from Luffy, like the drums of liberation and the other ancient weapons that are there, I think those robots are there to stop the Marines from destroying Punk Records. I don't necessarily think that's there to like fight the or it could, I mean, it could be waking up to attack the Gorosei. That could be sick. That could be really cool too, like give them the opportunity to run away, and then maybe holds off the Gorosei for a little bit, and then Kuma.
I feel like that's what I feel like that's what the drums of liberation probably is for.
Yeah. That's fire though, man. I really thought this last chapter was very, very good.
I've been really liking Egghead a lot.
Me too. Yeah, I think the two before this one I thought were a little weaker, not because like I didn't like Luffy and Kizaru. I thought that stuff was great, but I felt like he was getting a little too much into like what he does in these post-time skip arcs, where he throws in like a bunch of, this is where this person is on this island for one panel. Here's where this person is on this island, and it's like you don't need to see all of this. Like just focus on Luffy Kizaru. That fight's cool, you know. Yeah. Like when Kizaru was skimming over the water,
and made Luffy throw up light.
Oh my god, it was
great. The shot of Kizaru's like head just fucking dude, I loved that.
Spinning with the stars flying all over the place, and oh man, yeah.
Yeah, because Kizaru's like the only admiral that doesn't take himself seriously. So it's like seeing him fight Luffy's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good. And I'm hyped to just see like where it goes from here too. Like what else we're gonna end up seeing.
So you think 100% we're going to Elbaf right after this?
Also, how big is Saturn? Is he like bigger than the Giants?
In this form? I mean,
I think he's the same size.
Yeah.
He's huge. Like he's towering over Frankie.
Yeah, he's massive. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I think a lot of, like, this isn't to say that One Piece is ending anytime soon, right? But like 4 or 5 years from now, I still think that's only a couple story arcs, right? I mean, Wano was 4 years, so yeah, you know, I feel like the final arc would probably be about 5. Realistically, what I think is going to happen is I think Egghead wraps up. I think we go to Elbaf, right? Robin meets with Saul again. They find the final road poneglyph because they said it's somewhere ancient. Elbaf makes sense. They find the final road poneglyph. They head to Raftel, right? You go into the final war. And that's it. I mean, and then you discover what the One Piece is.
Imagine God Valley though would be where God Valley.
God Valley, I think is mostly flashback. I think that's
that's what I meant. I meant to say I thought Elbaf is probably where Luffy would have his clash with Shanks or whatever.
Oh yeah, I mean we could also have that too, right? Luffy reuniting with Shanks there.
Elbaf?
A dating back would be neat. Yeah, I mean Shanks
he's chilling with the Giants.
He's chilling with the Giants. Yeah. Yeah, but Elbaf is certainly not
Usopp has his big thing there.
Yeah, so, Usopp definitely has a big thing there.
And Robin has to meet Saul again.
Well, if Usopp has his big thing there, it'd be cool with Shanks being there with Yasopp too.
Yeah, because then you'd have Yasopp,
true.
Usopp, you'd have Shanks, you'd have Luffy, you'd have Robin, you'd have Saul. Even moving on from that, like I think we still don't know anything at all about Loki, and that was something that Big Mom specifically brought up, that the Giants hate Big Mom not just for her like as a child killing the elders of Elbaf, but that also Loki, the whole thing that he said was he wanted to marry Lola because the royalty of Elbaf still doesn't have an heir. And that Loki, the whole reason she was going to marry them off was to have an heir and have like an in with the Giants, and also give Elbaf like an actual royal heir as well. So Loki is a huge character that's going to come into play too that we know nothing about.
I'm trying to figure out like how much stronger characters are going to get, because there's still a good bit left, but they're still powering up.
I really want to see Zoro's like resolution.
We haven't even seen like apparently doesn't Akainu have the best offense? And we haven't even seen him do anything.
I'm pretty sure he's the best out of all of them.
Yeah, for sure.
No, also, I mean he has the best devil fruit in terms of offense. Period. I think.
Yeah, in terms of all, he said like if Akainu went for the One Piece, he'd find it in 2 years. Yeah, right.
Something like that.
What I was gonna say though was, that's another reason why I feel like Elbaf is going to be the last major arc before Final War, because just like you said, Zeph, right? People keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and time again throughout the course of the story, they kept saying the strongest warriors in the entire world are the giants of Elbaf. So like, I'm trying to also that would be the final place you go,
with people getting stronger too, and I'm trying to figure out where battles are going to be placed now, because like there's a lot of final enemies. There's Blackbeard. I think he's still going to be the end. I think he's going to be the end of it all. Like the Gorosei are going to be gone. Everything's over. It's just
Emu, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also feel like though, did you see Film Red?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know how like Usopp and Yasopp were talking to each other on different battlefronts, like through observation hockey?
Yeah.
I think that's what the final war is going to be like. Like I think there's going to be a Buggy front, a Luffy front, a Shanks front, and a Blackbeard front.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And all the other characters throughout the rest of the story will be on like one of those.
That would be like the greatest resolution to like this entire story, and would like serve purpose for every single fucking.
They're probably gonna try to do the thing where like it's probably gonna parallel like Garp, Roger, and Rocks all fighting.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean not Shanks. Oda's even said that Marineford is going to be dwarfed by the actual ending. Final war.
Oh yeah, and the God Knights. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and the God Knights are there too, right? In Marijoa. I think they get I honestly feel like this is a whole nother discussion.
It'd be so funny if Blackbeard just fodderized them all.
I think the God Knights are the opponents of the Revolutionaries, is my guess. And I think
Shanks, they haven't been doing much.
No. And I think with Shanks' father being Figureland, or at least that's the assumption, right, that the judge is Shanks' father, because Shanks is a Figureland. Yeah. I feel like it would be interesting for Shanks' father to fight Luffy's father. And that's like the confrontation, right? Is Luffy's dad versus Shanks' dad.
I was gonna say, I was seeing some shit about Dragon.
You think Dragon is gonna get his flex time against the God's Knights?
100%. I think that's
Bro,
the Revolutionary's
that would suck so bad.
opponents.
Imagine being the person Dragon gets to show off against. Finally.
Because I think the God's Knights, right, they represent like the peak of the government in terms of like their army.
Yeah.
And so that makes sense for the Revolutionaries to fight them. Yeah,
and Dragon has to be strong, because like
course he is.
Yeah, like if Akainu is scared of him, bro. Like
I remember seeing some shit about Dragon, like someone like was saying some shit about his powers or some. I forget what I fucking read. I think it was wind, something like that.
Yeah.
Every time he's shown facing a direction in a panel, there's also wind blowing in that direction, or like. Anytime he just randomly shows up somewhere, there's a big puff of smoke or air or some shit.
I think a lot of people think he has like some type of air fruit or wind fruit or whatever. I think, if you look at like Whitebeard, how Whitebeard's fruit was like earthquakes, natural disasters, I feel like he could have a hurricane fruit or something crazy,
That on the sea is like this.
Would be so broken, right? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, if Dragon had the hurricane fruit, it's over.
Yeah. There's a lot of strong people on the Revolutionaries. I don't know.
Yeah. And also Sabo too. Like I think the other thing for me, which I think a lot of people want Luffy versus Akainu, but I almost feel like thematically for the story, if it's the Revolutionaries versus the God Knights and the world government, like at Marijoa,
I agree with that.
I honestly feel like Sabo could fight Akainu.
Oh, you already know Sabo's gonna have some kind of father-son Kamehameha with Ace.
That's what I'm saying. With like the will of Ace.
Not like Ace isn't literally gonna be there, but Sabo's gonna do some move, and then like Ace's silhouette is gonna be
100%. Yeah.
And then Akainu dies or something.
Yeah, right. Sabo kills like something along the lines of how Akainu told Ace, like, your fire can never beat my lava or something.
Yeah.
And then like Sabo proving with his hockey and with the power and with friendship ghost of Ace or whatever, he'll be able to take him out.
Akainu was sick, bro.
Akainu is sick. He's like one of the strongest characters in the whole fucking
all of the admiral, like the Marines are just cool. Like they're good bad guys.
Yeah.
I remember when I was reading it, like when I was still like when I initially started, someone asked me like, "Oh, who's your favorite characters?" or some shit. And I remember I was going, "Man, Akainu's like his power is pretty fucking cool and shit like that." And someone flamed me, and I was like, "What the fuck? Why are you flaming me, bro? You asked me that question."
That's awesome. Yeah, Akainu's cool.
He's cool as fuck. My favorite one is probably Kizaru out of them all, but like.
Oh yeah, I also love Kizaru, but I feel like with Akainu, we're probably gonna get some like sad backstory.
Yeah, it's gonna be like extra fucked up.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the name of that motherfucker in the treasure chest again?
Gaimon.
He's gonna probably show up again, right?
100%. Everyone's gonna show up
Yeah.
again. That's the whole thing. Every character.
Well, I'm
that you
saying
could
like
think of
soon
is
he's
popping
gonna
up.
be
It's
showing
gonna
up.
just be the Royal Rumble at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
I still going back to what we were talking about with Egghead. I still really think truly that Kuma dies during Egghead, that he actually dies, sacrifices himself against the Gorosei, whatever. And I really truly think Vivi gets his fruit. I really think it's going to be Vivi because people were talking about how, you know, there's 10 crewmates and Vivi technically is a member. Like Oda's mentioned that she's officially a member of the crew. And there was an SBS about a decade ago where someone asked Oda, where they were like, hey, why is it that if you look at the names of all the devil fruits in Japanese, there's like the Hito Hito no Mi, the Gomu Gomu no Mi, right? There's like the Hana Hana no Mi, the Yomi Yomi no Mi. There's all these other fruit names, and all the names are two Japanese numbers together. Gomu Gomu is like two Japanese numbers, 5656, and like all the other ones are the same. So all the people that have devil fruits on the Straw Hat crew have a number from 1 to 10 in their names. And the Nikyu Nikyu, which is the only other fruit that has the other two numbers, 2 and 10, is the pawpaw fruit in Japanese. And someone was like, oh my god, does that mean Kuma's gonna join the crew eventually? And Oda was like, shut up, don't talk about this, we'll talk about this later, we'll talk about this a decade from now or something. And so now things are wrapping up, and like we know that devil fruits can be eaten by other people once the original user has died. And if Vivi's already technically a member...
Yeah, doesn't that shit like spawn right away wherever there's a fruit?
It spawns right away.
Yeah.
And we know Vivi as a D, now we know she's a D, and was present at Reverie, and has connections with the world government and all this other stuff, and like Kuma, and he knows the history and everything as well. I could see him giving the fruit to Vivi, or like dying and finding some way to teleport his fruit to Vivi in some capacity. And because the whole thing is like, you know how Emu, the like...
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that shit, man.
What is that? Like, what is Vivi's like great-great-great-grandmother or whatever?
Yeah, it's great something.
That Emu was like in love with her, and then basically got pissed that she sent all the poneglyphs away, right?
Yeah.
So the idea is, well, how the hell did she send the poneglyphs all throughout the rest of the sea? Like, how did she send them in all these locations? And then you think about it and think about Kuma's devil fruit. How you touch it and send things to different locations. And the idea was basically that, like, the first owner of Kuma's fruit was actually Vivi's, like, ancestor.
Oh, okay, I can see that line.
And that Vivi would get it again. And that would be how they get the other poneglyphs back, and that's what leads into Final War, and then brings her together with them.
That would actually be a pretty decent like tie-in with all that.
Well, and her power, that power would be really useful for the end.
Oh yeah. Also too, like the whole thing is, if you remember when Robin first talked about the pawpaw fruit, like in Thriller Bark, she imagined the user being someone who had cat paws or like was a cat girl. Dude, I guarantee you, if Oda gives the power to Vivi, there is a 0% chance that he does not take that opportunity to make a bunch of Vivi cat girl merchandise. Like, there's no way. That's 100% what he's... Or even if he doesn't end up being a cat girl and, like, he goes the teddy bear route or something and has, like, teddy bear girl Vivi, dude, it's over.
Either way, yeah.
I remember reading something about Emu as well. I think it was also the tie-in with the Chinese Zodiac.
Oh, the Umi Bosi. Yes, dude.
Yes, that's it.
Dude, he for sure is an Umi Bosi.
Yeah.
The whole thing is like, if the other Gorosei are yokai, right?
Yes,
and the idea of the yokai. See, I know this is why we do these One Piece talks, man. Exactly. So the whole thing is that Emu backwards is Umi, which means the sea. Yeah. And there's a very prominent yokai in Japanese mythology called the Umi Bosi.
Yeah, he kind of looks like it.
Right, which is a giant shadowed figure, a tall, slender, shadowed figure that rises up out of the water and drowns his victims, and literally raises the sea level to drown them. Yeah. So hold on, I'm getting there. So Umi Bosi raises the sea levels, right? Which is, what did Emu just do with Uranus? After destroying Lulusia, he literally raised the sea levels and made the seas where you couldn't get past them. And like you said, Coast, the whole thing is that the only way to beat an Umi Bosi is to bring it a barrel. And the first time we ever see Luffy in One Piece, he hops out of a barrel. Mm-hmm. That's the first time we ever see him. And
there's
so
there's other instances with barrels as well. Like
there are.
Fuck, I'm blanking. I think it's right after Skypiea? When did... I don't know what I'm thinking about anymore. I'm getting my
I'm
shit
trying to
mixed
think
up.
about what you're thinking about now too. Yeah.
I know there's another instance of a barrel.
There
But
are
yeah,
multiple.
anyways,
Yeah.
the main thing is the barrel with Luffy. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Umi Bosi and drowning. And
yeah.
also the connection to the Umi Bosi and how they're... Because the other big like thing that we don't know still from Thriller Bark is like what was up with those weird silhouettes that were in the water.
Yeah.
And those weird silhouettes, now that we know about the Gorosei and we know about Imu and all this, is like, you know... The devil fruits are still based on something. Like, you know how there's dragons in the One Piece world, but Kaido has the dragon fruit? So the idea is basically that Imu has the devil fruit of the Umi Bosi, but that the Umi Bosi also exist in the world of One Piece, and that's what we saw way back in Thriller Bark, and that was meant to be our little teaser. Yeah. Reverse Mountain, right with the barrel, of course. And the barrel where they all put their foot on the barrel before they go to the Grand Line. Of course. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff with barrels.
I was thinking about Reverse Mountain now, specifically.
Yeah. One Piece is fire, bro. It's good. It's really good. We're entering a very good part of it right now.
People say he didn't plan any of this shit. Like, fuck.
Yeah, and it's like so clear that he did. Yeah, exactly. Definitely things that he adds filler here and there.
There's definitely things he also was lucky with.
Right, and stuff he got lucky with. But I think, like, especially with the stuff with the Gorosei and their power sets, or like the final matchups,
this is definitely
this is stuff that was planned.
When writers think of shit, this is like what he initially had in his mind.
Yeah. The only thing that I could think of in terms of like, I think he kind of lucked his way into it, was the misspelling tattoo of Ace and turning that into Sabo.
Yeah.
I don't think Sabo was a thing. And then I think when he decided he was going to have Ace die, he's like, I can retroactively turn this into something and have this third brother. But that's like, I think the biggest thing to me when I look back at the series and I'm like, you didn't think you were going to do this, I think was Sabo. Yeah.
Because people still argue about that shit, what it means till this day. Like.
Yeah. Yeah, so Uber in the I'm looking in Coast chat right now. If you go back to, I think it's chapter 233, the first introduction of the Gorosei, look at the light fixtures in the back and look at what the light fixtures are in the Gorosei headquarters. Back in chapter 233, they're pentagrams. It's crazy.
Isn't there another? I think there's a shape that's also like heavily associated in One Piece as well. There's like, I remember reading this somewhere too. There's some sort of shape that is seen like commonly, or maybe I'm thinking about something else.
If these freaks are kneeling before Emu, then maybe that thing isn't human. I don't know.
That's my point though, right? Is that like Emu could also just straight up be the devil. Like he could just be that. He could literally be the devil, the originator of the devil fruits. Like
and he gave these guys like the literal.
Right.
Devil fruit. Yeah.
Devil. Exactly. He gave them the literal devil fruits. Right. Because we don't know the model of the fruit yet, but it would not surprise me if it's like the Akuma no Mi model Umi Bosi or whatever. You know what I mean? Like something like that, where they all are devil fruits, but that the actual power itself, it's like model whatever the yokai is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and if he could raise the sea level, then
that's great. It's over. Yeah. Right. But that would make it even sicker than then have Dragon be like one of his opponents, right? Like to have the guy who's like the hurricane fruit, which is like the most dangerous thing you could run into on the sea, like fighting this dude would be sick.
Yeah. It's just, this whole, I don't think it's going to, like, I think it's going to be totally unpredictable until a certain point, and then it'll be pretty clear what is going to happen. Because, like, it's so weird right now.
Yeah, I do feel like there's a lot that's kind of unpredictable, but I do feel now like I talked to Ohara about this a couple weeks ago when I was in Japan, and we discussed how he did a video on this like really popular Japanese theory about like where the One Piece is, and I genuinely watched that video the first time and was like, nah, whatever, like Oda's gonna do something different. And then now, after having seen what happened to Lulusia, I'm like, oh no, that video was 100% right. Like I spoiled myself on where the One Piece is. And like where Laugh Tale is, which is now like a huge bummer, to the point where like I don't even share that like video with people anymore, because now it's like, oh fuck, like I wish I didn't know that. Yeah, I could tell you guys if you care, if you don't care, but like
I'm interested.
I'm interested. Yeah.
Okay, so
because it's like it's not. Well, hold on. If you're chat, this is a spoiler. I guess
this is like, I mean, like literally the location of where the
Rogers is certain that this is it. So
I'm like 99%. Yeah. So Okay, Advent knows what I'm talking about too. So the location of Laugh Tale is underneath Eni's lobby. And the reason why is because Eni's lobby, obviously, the world government built over this massive hole that was in the water, which we've now seen after the destruction of the Lulusia kingdom. These massive holes in the water are created after using Uranus and wiping out a kingdom, right? Mm-hmm. We know the ancient kingdom that was wiped out in the Void Century, all this other stuff, was wiped off the face of the map, right? No one knows where it is. It's completely hidden. You can't find it anywhere. This ancient kingdom, meaning, probably had to be in some type of hole in the ground the same way that Lulusia was. And we've been told multiple times throughout the course of the story that you have to like find the road poneglyphs in order to find the exact location of it. And if you remember what they said about Eni's lobby?
No.
How Eni's lobby is the exact middle in which everything converges and you have the calm belt in the middle of all of it, where it's like an X marks the spot, literally.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
It's always day, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's also a line, which having gone back and read this, I was like, holy shit, Oda. I cannot believe you did this. There's a line right before the Mary dies, in which the soul of the Mary at Eni's lobby tells the Straw Hat Pirates, if only I could have taken you just a little farther, it was right there. Is literally what the Mary says to the Straw Hats. I wish I could have taken you just a little farther. It was right there. Like, with Mary saying that, within the context, you're thinking like, okay, yeah, well, of course, like, you know, I wish I could have taken you a little bit farther, like having, you know, taken you to the One Piece, right? But if the One Piece was literally directly below Eni's lobby, that could have been the Mary being like, I'm so sorry, we were right here and I wanted to take you a little bit further.
If a boat has a soul, it probably knows things. Like,
and that's like another way too to tie in the Mary, which is obviously such an integral part of the story for the first half and like the Club Ottermon. That's a way to tie that back into the finale of the story, to reunite with the Mary's Club Ottermon before you reach Laugh Tale, and like seeing the soul of the Mary again one more time before you find the One Piece. And there's
that'd be cool.
And there's a bunch of other, if you look up the video, like I said, I recommend it. It's by my buddy O'Hara. He translates the whole thing. But it was like originally it was a theory by this guy named Uteron. And there's like a lot of wordplay with One Piece and like chapter numbers and things that Oda likes to do on like
I've seen that. Yeah,
chapters and titles, right? And there's a lot of stuff that like directly relates to Eni's lobby and the hole in the ground at Eni's lobby, and that being where Laugh Tale's location is. Yeah.
Interesting. I would not have ever guessed that, to be honest.
Yeah, and I never would have guessed that either. And then, like I said, I had seen that video and thought nothing of it. And then the chapter dropped where Imu, you know, destroys Lulusia, and you see the hole in the ground that's exactly the same as the hole under Eni's lobby. And I was like, oh shit, this is it. This is literally it. Like, this guy figured it out. So. But everything else, I think, is pretty, as for what the One Piece actually is, like, you know, who knows? But the actual location is going to be under Eni's lobby.
So what the heck? What were these guys doing when Gold Roger was running around? Just hanging out?
Just chill. What do you mean? Like the Gorosei?
Yeah, and Emu and all these freaks.
Yeah, because Nika was not reawakened yet. Like, Joy Boy hadn't returned. It wasn't time.
I guess, but you'd think they'd be a little nervous about him.
I think they were nervous, and they obviously knew the Nika fruit was something, right? Because they put it on the government ship with Who's Who.
Yeah.
And then Who's Who reveals in Wano Country that, like, oh yeah, they knew it wasn't the Gomu Gomu no Mi.
It was
like
only Roger's the only one that saw the One Piece, right?
Roger and his crew.
Yeah, they all saw it.
So yeah, like Oden and Rayleigh all saw it.
Yeah. Oden, Rayleigh, all of them. The only two that didn't were Buggy and Shanks, because Shanks stayed behind because Buggy was sick, right? But all the rest of them saw it.
Yeah,
they all know it. Crocus knows it, so like when he brings up the stuff.
Yeah, Roger said. Didn't Roger straight up say like we were too early, and they all like.
Yeah. Rayleigh know. I mean, Rayleigh even said like when they first meet him, Rayleigh says he knows what the One Piece is, and remember Usopp is like, well, I want to know what it is, and Luffy's like, shut your mouth, I don't want to know what it is, you know.
Yeah.
He's like, I wanted to
imagine he just told him right.
Yeah, right. Rayleigh just tells him straight up.
I hope
it's really good
because I don't think them finding the One Piece is like gonna be like the literal end.
No, so Oda has clarified recently
Is it?
that when they find the One Piece, that is the end of the story. Meaning,
Like, so
'cause
the chapter
I
they
always
find it,
thought-
it's over.
Yeah. I always thought that the One Piece would be discovered, right? And that the revelation from the One Piece would lead into
Cause
final
like
war.
a huge, yeah.
Right. And that the One Piece would be discovered after taking out the world government, right? And then Blackbeard would be the final
Yeah,
villain.
because
Or
wasn't
something.
the original thing that people thought the One Piece was like secret marine shit or
It
something?
could've- yeah, right. Yeah. And
Yeah, I mean,
I
it
feel
could be.
like it could be any number of things, but I feel
Yeah.
like if finding the One Piece is literally the end and they're all laughing at the sight of it or whatever.
And they don't show that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be bullshit. So I do think they'll show it. I just think they're going to show it. I think it'll be the reveal of what it is. It'll make perfect sense in line with whatever happens during the final war. It'll be like that one last cherry on top reveal that makes everything tie together. And then like we'll get an epilogue and that'll be that. Yeah.
The common thing I've seen online is people say it's a bottle of sake.
I also think that's a high likelihood that it's a bottle of pink sake. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Because
that
it
it's
don't open
waiting-
until whatever.
Right,
and,
exactly. Right, exactly. It's got to be the right age. Right, exactly.
Yeah. So they weren't
Yeah.
even allowed to have it. Yeah.
Yep. And that's why they're laughing about it. And,
Yeah.
Yep. Which also would then be incredible.
And they can all share the drink. Yeah.
They all share Bink Sake, and Brooke is there with Laboon. Like, would be incredible. I mean, that's like, that'll be amazing.
That would actually be pretty good.
Right, because if you end the series and the epilogue is told as Brooke singing the song of the Straw Hats to Laboon to the tune of Bink Sake and drinking the Bink Sake that was aged, oh my god, dude! Like,
I would love that ending. Actually,
people would.
I think it would be even cooler
It'd
if
be
it did
amazing.
like the Luffy laugh thing, and then it
Yeah.
just like cuts to Brooks telling it.
Oh my god, man, would be so good. Yeah, you get like Luffy shot of Roger's laugh, and then and then like hard cut to Brooke telling the end of the story. Yeah. Oh my god, so good.
Man, I don't think he's gonna fumble. No way.
No,
I don't
he's
think
not.
so.
He's not.
I
Not
think
at this
I
point.
think it'll ultimately it'll end really well, but regardless of what it is, people will inevitably be disappointed because of
Right.
headcanons or just set expectations. But I think
that-
no matter how it ends, I think it'll still be a really good ending.
Well, there's always because if it really is a bottle of sake and not something huge, like there's gonna be a portion of the fan base that are like stupid.
I would rather it be something like that than a huge like
Yeah.
thing.
At this point.
Right.
That's like kind of the point
Right.
of the
I also kind of feel like too, you know, the times in which Oda does fumble, it's usually because he has too many other plot threads, right? Whereas,
there's so many things
when
happening.
we enter the final war, like there's going to be a lot of stuff happening, but it's stuff that he's been waiting to tell for like literally 2
Yeah,
decades.
that's gonna be peak One Piece, bro.
right. That's going to be like the best of the best, and so I do feel like it probably
That's
won't be as much an
literally
issue.
the
I think
accumulation of fucking 20 years, bro.
Yeah, I think the only thing that, and we could already see this a little bit with Egghead and like the Luffy and Kizaru fight and how quickly that ended versus like Kaido versus Luffy, right? It's like Kaido versus Luffy took like 3 years, whereas Luffy versus Kizaru was literally 3 chapters. And it's the kind of thing where like, I think there could end up being a lot more of that towards the end of the series where like some of these matchups get relegated to like 1 or 2 chapters each, and that you don't end up getting like the full massive like multi-day long Kuzan versus Akainu Punk Hazard creation type fights, right? That you just get like regular fights. And just like how you have the normal fights against the Doflamingo family or the, you know, Beast Pirates or whatever, you're going to have those fights, but it's just going to be against massive named characters that have been
I
important
definitely
in the
see
story
what
for
he
so
did,
long.
like with Wano and Dressrosa, where it's. I just hope he dedicates entire chapters to the fights, like nothing
like
else.
Zoro
Don't-
versus Mihawk will be multiple chapters, right? Like that'll be its own thing. I'm sure Sanji versus whoever his final opponent's going to be is going to be a big thing. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if there's gonna be any other after Kuma. I wonder how many major characters will die.
Because
they don't seem to-
next. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think Shanks makes it out of the series alive. I think
No.
Shanks dies.
No, he has to.
There's a
go.
theory where, well, it's not a theory. It's pretty obvious that like a lot of the good-hearted pirates die.
Right.
And like I think Shank is like the epitome, like straight
For
up.
Well,
sure.
Shanks is like freaking the fuck out about Blackbeard.
Yes. Yeah, Shanks will. I also think Garp will for sure.
Yeah, I
Garp
think
is
Garp will
already
die.
near death. Garp definitely
Yeah,
will.
I thought he was going to right there.
Yeah, I think Rayleigh could. I think Rayleigh
I don't
could
think
for
Rayleigh
sure.
will die.
Rayleigh seems like an easy heartstring Jiraiya type
Yeah.
death.
I don't think they
you
will
know.
kill him though.
I could see.
Law's
major-
fine. If they were gonna kill Law, they would have.
Law, if Law dies, I think it'll be at the very, very, very end, and he gives the immortality surgery to Luffy. But it'll be like in the literally the last 5
I
chapters.
can see Law dying to like end
Yeah.
the age of like the worst generation.
Yeah, I could see that too. I guess in terms of other characters dying, yeah, I think Law is actually pretty high up there in terms of likelihood.
I definitely
Of-
see him dying.
Yeah, I could see Law dying. Shanks is like a guarantee. Garp is a guarantee. I think Big Mom and Kaido for sure by the end, if they're not already.
I
will.
think they're already. I think Big Mom
Nah.
is dead, bro.
Big Mom's definitely not. Big Mom more so than Kaido is definitely not.
I think
because Big
Big
Mom's
Mom
got
is
too many
dead.
connections to Elbaf, and Big Mom's fruit is like so broken that she could just bring the lava to life. That like when Zunisha brings down the walls.
True, I
of
didn't even
Wano, like-
think of that.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I mean, like, Big Mom is, like, the most broken. Not only that, but, like, the whole thing with the end of Wano where Zunisha's like, is it time to open the borders? And he's like, not yet. Dude, they could just literally...
I can see
Kaido
her
and
dying
Big
at the
Mom-
literal like final fight where like she's
Yeah.
like totally unhinged.
Yeah, exactly. We're
Okay,
like,
but do you
I
see
think when
do you see it
Zunisha-
like where she'll show up and it's a prolonged fight, or she shows up and it's like some comedic thing?
I think it's
now?
gonna be like a Big Mom jump scare almost, and then it's
I
like
do,
gonna,
I do too. Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's gonna be like, holy shit, she's still alive. She shows up and does some crazy thing where she sucks the life out of like hundreds of people at once, becomes like some massive, powerful final ghost creature thing, and summons like the
that'd
spirit
be
of Mother
cool.
Carmel, and then that's it. Yeah. Like the best way I could describe her in Final War is like what Kazembo was in Wano.
Oh, yeah.
You know
so
how
asked
like
if I watched
Kanjuro
Film
had
Stampede. I did not
Kazembo?
watch Film Stampede. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, you know how like Kanjuro had Kazenbo in Wano, like the ghost thing that like went through the fire and then eventually killed
Yeah.
Orochi. Like I could see Big Mom literally playing that role in the ending, where she's like this massive soul-eating creature thing that is just like sucking the life out of everything in the final war that eventually like lands on a target and kills some super powerful creature. Or like think about the back and forth between her and Kaido. Like if her and Kaido are actually alive, and Kaido's like doing some crazy stuff in the final war, and then she's amassed all this life, and she's like, "Come on, Kaido, our time on this earth is over," and like literally just like sucks the life out of him, and the two of them die together. Like, kind of sick.
I think like they have to. I think we're kind of done with. Well, how much more would they touch on Void Century? Because I think they're gonna go into God Valley stuff.
Yeah, well, Void Century God Valley stuff I think is directly connected, right? Like,
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that comes with the final road poneglyph, which is why I think when they go to Elbaf, like the end of that arc will be like the end of Zoe, where they get the final road poneglyph. Robin puts together the Rio poneglyph, all 4 road parts. She's like, oh my god, I know where Laugh Tale is, right? She makes the map, and then everybody finds out about it because Shanks is obviously there in Elbaf. Lots of the people know about shit. Everyone finds out about it, and it becomes a race to get to Laugh Tale because now it's been translated because Robin figured out the location from the Rio poneglyph.
The people still think that, like, since Luffy's Nika or whatever, do people think that Blackbeard is gonna be like inspired by or like rocks possessed or some shit?
Yeah, so a lot of people think that he has the same devil fruit that Rocks had, right?
Oh,
or that,
okay.
or that
and it
he-
could influence him or some shit.
or he carries the will exactly, right? Because remember how they said how the zone fruits like have a will of their own, kind of like
Yeah.
In the very beginning with Luffy, how he couldn't stop laughing, how like the Nika had its own like influence over him.
And
the-
Blackbeard has the whole multi-personality shit, doesn't sleep.
Right. The thing that I saw, which I was like, man, this would be an amazing thing for Blackbeard, is how Blackbeard, like, his whole thing has been amassing devil fruit powers, like the strongest of them, right? He got the Logia devil fruit, which was the darkness fruit. He got the strongest paramecia, which is the earthquake. And then people would have assumed the strongest zone prior to this point would have been Kaido, right? Like, because he's the strongest beast alive. You would think he'd want Kaido's devil fruit, which is the dragon fruit. But then what someone brought up to me, which was like, oh my god, this is so sick, is that what if Blackbeard, when we met him, like prior to getting the darkness fruit from Thatch, prior to getting all that other shit, what if Blackbeard already had the strongest mythical zone, and that the mythical zone is the reason why he can't sleep? It's that like the soul of the zone is too strong within him, and that people were talking about how, you know, he has like the 3 skulls on his flag, and people were talking about how octopuses have like 3 hearts, and that how in a pirate story it would be super sick for the final villain to have a kraken power, and that he'd somehow be like a mythical kraken that can negate, which would be like one of the strongest mythical zones, tied with, you know, the strongest Logia being the darkness fruit, tied with the strongest paramecia. Like, imagine a kraken that could negate devil fruit powers and create earthquakes. Like, insane. Actually insane.
Dude, what if they give him like legitimately 3 hearts and like they gotta defeat him 3 times?
3 times, exactly. Right.
Like a classic video game boss.
Right. 3 phases. How, you know, Luffy, like, traditionally in every story arc loses 3 times, right? I mean, he loses twice and then wins the 3rd time, right? That, like, this would be kind of the reverse of that he literally has to beat him 3 times.
I also forgot the thing where didn't Luffy refer to Blackbeard as a multiple, yeah, he's not a
yeah. Where they were like, what do you mean? And it wasn't like because of his pronouns or whatever. It was literally like because there were multiple people. Yeah. It wasn't. Yeah. Where they were like, what do you mean they?
So even Luffy knows
and
something.
Zoro were both like, there's more of them. Yeah. So
dude, there's for some reason there's like some underlying thing with Zoro that I'm waiting on. Ever since
his eyeball. I mean, his eye is gonna be the big thing.
I'm just waiting on it, bro.
And not only that, I think like that'll probably get revealed in his eventual fight with Mihawk, because Mihawk obviously trained Zoro during the time skip, and so Mihawk knows who gave Zoro that scar and how he got that scar and whatever is behind it, you know. So I think there is going to be something that awakens in that fight with Mihawk, where Mihawk's like, are you really going to try? Like, I think the way it's probably going to play out is something along the lines of Mihawk being like, when they're finally face to face, he's like, do you really think you're ready for me now, Zoro? Like, I know you've been through all this. You really think it's time to be the world's greatest swordsman? Remember what happened when we trained? And you're going to get a flashback of like how he got the scar. And then Zoro's going to be like, I've grown so much since then, whatever. And like, you know, opens his eye or does some crazy shit. Yeah.
I've also seen like people mention Blackbeard's like body in general is just like weird, and he's like maybe an unknown race or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Could also be that, or someone pertaining to God Valley, right? Like a race of people who don't sleep or something.
God
could be
Valley
crazy.
I saw he could be fucking with what they do to people. He could be genetically modified, but
yeah, I do love the idea that the 1-to-1 fight among all the different Yonko, you know how like there's the Blackbeard crew and the Shanks crew or whatever. I do really love the idea that like the one guaranteed 1-to-1 is the Cross Guild versus the Straw Hats, because you could have Luffy versus Buggy as like a really funny, obviously like Luffy is gonna destroy Buggy, but like it could be a really funny
like slapstick fight,
slapstick kind of fight, right? You could have Mihawk versus Zoro as like the headliner, obviously, because the two of them have to fight, and then you could have Sanji and Crocodile playing up on the whole like Mr. Prince thing, and because remember way back in Alabasta,
or Vivi's like on the crew at that point.
That'd be sick as hell. Yeah, or dude, oh my god, Vivi and Robin versus
Crocodile
would be so sick. That would be Vivi and Robin versus Crocodile is actually fire. I love that.
Do you believe in the gender croc thing?
I think there's a lot of validity behind it. Yeah, I do think there is something to it. Yeah, I think that Crocodile either was young and wanted to be aged up, and was like, it was a play on the Peter Pan thing. You know how like Peter Pan like always wants to be a young boy, but it's like the opposite of it, because Crocodile, I mean the whole thing, he's obviously based on Captain Hook. Like that's his name is Crocodile, and he has a giant hook on his hand. Like it's not really subtle. So the idea that maybe he's like the reverse Peter Pan, right? Where Peter Pan never wanted to grow up, and Crocodile wanted to grow up so he could actually fight Whitebeard and like become a real pirate.
Oh, I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, and that Ivankov's like, because Ivankov's like, I know your secret, Croco boy. He doesn't call him like Croco guy or whatever. He calls him specifically Croco boy. And in the Japanese, it's like implied that he's younger, like significantly younger. So
like just an honorific with the language.
Right, like him talking to him like he's a child, essentially. The same way that like the Gorosei are talking about Bonnie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I love the idea of like Crocodile being a girl. I think that would be sick.
I mean, there's that one SBS where he drew him as a girl.
Drew her, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, also that's the thing too is like in the first episode of the live action, right? You have that scene in Logtown, and you see the girl that looks like she could be Crocodile. Like, what's going on there? You know. And obviously Oda oversaw everything. He knows what was in there.
That would
so
be really
wouldn't have
cool
approved
if he like put hints for the manga in the live action,
The live
where it's the
action
fucking
would
very
be fire,
beginning.
Actually, yeah, that would be fire. That's his, because now like we're close enough to the end of the story where now he knows what the end game's
Like
gonna
he
be.
will
Right? We're like,
explicitly like show the hints that he probably dropped more explicitly.
right. Yeah, it'll be cool, man. It's gonna be a good series. It already is. It's already great.
Yeah.
Definitely already is.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm gonna let you guys go. It's almost 9. I gotta eat something. I gotta relax. Gotta finish my shrimp. But that was fun. I'm glad we had a whole extra little One Piece discussion.
Yeah, yeah.
Fire.
We should clip this out. Clip this out, actually. Coast, clip this out. Send this to
Vanilla's probably listening.
Vanilla saves all my VODs. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Vanilla, if you're listening, if you're here, Vanilla, cut this out and make this the video for next week.
There
Put
you
this
go.
up during the break week. On the off chance, like, put it up, and then on the off chance that they don't do the Sonic spoiler discussion, we have a video to go up. There you go. That's a good call. All right, you guys. Good
Bye,
night,
brother.
gentlemen.
Have a good week.
Later.
Take care.